Hello and welcome to the Bundesliga show, the Thursday edition of the predictions ahead of match week 29. Once again, Peter, we're making a bit of a habit of it, aren't we, again now, which is great. This is our third show in a row, isn't it? And how are you doing over there?
I mean, I absolutely love spending time with you and discussing the best footballing beat. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, and yeah, we're gonna do one more show together after this as well. And then, I mean, my only regret, of course, is that we're not together in my beloved Bundesrepublik, particularly considering there's a very, very special match coming up Friday evening that you and I. Oh man, I wish we were there. Don't you? Don't you?
Yeah, I was thinking about that when I was looking through the fixtures. Yeah, one of our maybe our first watch along. It was that double head, one of the FCR when they turned Hoffenheim over. Yeah, and then I think the week after or 2 weeks after they turned Leverkusen over, also on a Friday night as well, which we covered. Yeah, I think that's what kind of got our FCA bond together, really, wasn't it? Covering those 2 wins, and I think we might have covered another one maybe as well. We always brought luck to the FCR whenever we did those watch-alongs, didn't we? But anyway, yeah, it is. That is the curtain raiser just before we get started. But yeah, let's just remind you guys that we are sponsored by Covert Footy Trips. Check out Rich's brilliant travel program over there in the UK. Check him out on Instagram and he'll sort you out with tickets anywhere in Europe, anywhere you want to go. Also, don't forget Bully News as well, bullynews.com. I believe they're active on Instagram as well now, by the way. I just noticed that, which is great. They're trying to pick up the following on Instagram a little bit too. So don't forget to check them out on the same name on Instagram as well as their main website as well. So yeah, as we already kind of touched on it a little bit, Peter, we are going to be kicking off with the FCR Hoffenheim. Talk about nostalgic, it raises us back to the early days of 2024, really. Or was it even 23, was it? Was it 20? It was 23. Geez, that's crazy. Yeah, and it's once again, this fixture comes around again, doesn't it, Peter? So go on, I'll let you, for nostalgia's sake, I'll let you lead out on this one. FCR Hoffenheim.
It was not long ago, as a matter of fact, that we were watching FCA in a Friday night fixture.
Very true.
It was a poor game of football. They lost 0-1 to Dortmund at home on Halloween. There was a memorable protest by the Dortmund Ultras in protest against Friday night kickoff times there. But Augsburg are, of course, good in the Friday night fixtures. Historically, they have an excellent record. And I know I said this on last week's prediction pod, but when I tipped Augsburg to win over HSV, and in so doing secure safety via the 34/35 point threshold. This should be the night. We know that Hoffenheim are tanking. We know that most of the players have their heads elsewhere. There's going to be a XXL Umbruch, I believe, in the summer. And I think that this is the night in what is a very schönen
und den Tagen wir im Herzen dieser schönen Stadt mit der wunderbarsten Welt.
Jeder hat
Du bist Glanz und Gloria.
We need another Kinderparade, don't we? Yeah, we need another Kinderparade. But what score, Peter? You told us FCR are going to win, but by what score?
They are going to win 2-0. And there is the Kinderparade on a Friday night. Actually on a Friday night maybe, because the kids don't have school the next day. That was a pretty pathetic Kinderparade that when I went to go see them in the Pokal fixture on a Tuesday.
But they were dark times, so let's be honest. And Halloween around as well, around that time. Well, we saw them. It was Halloween night. We saw them against Dortmund, wasn't it?
That's right. As I mentioned, yeah. So they are going to win a 2-0. It's going to be a big home victory at the VBK Arena. And those 3 points will ensure that the Fuggerstädter, our Bavarian Swabians, officially in my arithmetic, clinch Bundesliga safety, and their what will be the 15th consecutive season of Bundesliga football, maybe 16th. I have to double check. But at any rate, they have not been relegated since the Aufstieg, and yes, they're going to do it.
Yeah, we sync up, Peter. Yeah, I always have trust in my boys on Friday nights. I mean, their record on Friday nights, particularly at the VVK, is just outstanding over the years. And obviously, they did win the last Friday night home game as well against Köln in very comfortable circumstances. I remember receiving a text from you, Peter, saying that that's the FCR safe. But then we both kind of looked at the fixtures and were like, well, maybe not quite so safe. But obviously that point at Hamburg was a very important one. It puts them within one result, really, one victory of the hallowed 35. And I don't see this season you needing more than 35, to be honest, given the current state. So I think they'd be like 99.9% safe with a win here. I feel as though the FCR played really well last week, to be honest. They could easily have won the game. They had an XG of almost 3 in that game at Hamburg. They're probably the first team to go to Hamburg in a while and really kind of create that many opportunities. So I think it was a good performance from them. They got a lot of players on form at the minute. I did see that Rex Bahai has been linked with Werder and Gladbach, though, which is a bit of a shock. Maybe, he's quite a long-standing player now at the FCI. He's been there at least 3-4 seasons now. So that'd be a bit of a disappointment should that take place. But yeah, I see them clearly the better form. Despite the fact that they haven't won in the last 4, but performances have been much better from the FCR. I can see who's going to get the goal. I can see a Grigoric. I think he had a big performance last week despite not scoring. I think he'll get the nod again in this one. I think he's going to get at least 1 goal in a 2-1 victory for me, for the FCR. So let's move on. The Halbvier Saturday, probably the one that most kind of people outside Germany will be tipping up as the biggest match of the weekend. It's 2 perennial top 4 challengers, Borussia Dortmund versus Bayer 04 Leverkusen. What can you say? Obviously, this week, Dortmund came out and confirmed that Kovac will definitely be in charge ahead of next season. Not really so much of a surprise, but it always feels as though Dortmund have to come out and confirm that. You know what I mean? They're just that kind of club. There's so much kind of upheaval with managers. And despite the results, it's not all been plain sailing. And from what I know is that some of the fans are not particularly overjoyed still with what's going on at the club. For me, they should be. They should be satisfied because it's a winning team. Like, at the end of the day, what can football fans want more than turning up on a Saturday and watching the team win? Okay, it might not be like the best football, even close to the best football we've seen from a Borussia Dortmund side over the last 15 years. But it's a team that wins, and they managed to get the result thanks to Karim Adeyemi and Julian Brandt last week. This game is an interesting one. Obviously, Leverkusen mit Power und Pop. They are going to. They played well. They definitely played with power and pop in that second half last week against Wolfsburg. But if they replicate the first half performance, they're going to have a difficult time at the Westfalenstadion. So for me, I feel as though Dortmund, just as they've done most of the season, really, they are going to get over the line again here and potentially put Bayer Leverkusen out of the Champions League race, or at least very, very far off the Champions League race. For me, Leverkusen are not playing quite well enough to win at the Westfalenstadion. I feel as though they're too hit and miss. Will we see Malik Tillman start? Will we see Polku start? There's so many players in and out. I think the one that probably will definitely start is Maza. He seems to be a bit of a kind of stability for them nowadays. For Dortmund, it's going to be, will we see Karim Adeyemi get a start in this game? We'll have to see. But for me, they're going to get a 2-1 win. I see another 2-1 here for Borussia. Peter.
I'll go ahead and disagree on this one. I have become increasingly enamored with Kasper Hjulman, and I'm sorry that you've had my impersonation of him in your head all week long. Yes, as I said, he is quite the benevolent jolly Dane with it. Wir spielen mit Power und Pop und das Ergebnis gibt uns einen Push.
He speaks that kind of modern form of German, which is like a mixture of like English and German combined.
Well, he learned his German when he was coaching Mainz approximately a decade ago. And then, of course, he was out of the Bundesrepublik. And I mean, it's good to see. I very few Danes speak German anymore. Whenever I was there, I had, the Döner kebab salesman spoke it. But So another, I can add something else to get caught into your head. He railed against the bullshit verteidigen at
the bullshit defense.
Yes, indeed, bullshit verteidigen. That was last week against Wolfsburg. This is, of course, the third time that these teams have met this season, and Dortmund have been playing very, very poorly and getting results despite that. So I'm actually going to go ahead and pick Leverkusen for the 2-1 victory here. We'll have ourselves an inverse tip on that front. I think that seems about right. Dortmund, the loss of Felix Lemaitre has been just wow. I mean, I really don't think I quite comprehended what a valuable player he was. The half English, half German, if you want to put it that way. I think that his loss makes the midfield far too soft and far too vulnerable. And Leverkusen do have power und Pop und Speed und Tempo and all of this wonderful stuff on the counter. So I'll go for a 2-1 Leverkusen victory.
Yeah, let's not forget also that Leverkusen dumped Dortmund out of the Pokal as well, at Dortmund as well. I think back in, was it December, I believe? I think it was the third round, wasn't it? It was quite early on.
They played each other that weekend in the Bundesliga and then in the Pokal. And
then Dortmund won in Leverkusen quite fortuitously as well, I seem to remember. I seem to remember that Leverkusen also had the better of that fixture. But that's just been the way it's gone for most of the season for Dortmund, hasn't it? Like, they won a lot of big games this season, but a lot of them fortuitously, really, let's be honest. Anyway, let's have a look. Leipzig-Gladbach. Go on, Peter. I'll let you roll us out on this one.
Well, I actually rather like the way Gladbach played last week, and they were missing their lead striker, our Haris Tabakovic, or Tabakovic, as a smoker likes to call him. In any case, I think that they played. I mean, that was a incredibly important 2-goal performance in which Moya got his goal, and I think Honorat looked about as good as he has all season. He's been struggling with injuries. I mean, Honorat. You won him on the wide right with Tim Kleindienst in the lineup. That's not happening. But what we saw last week in this interesting little 3-4-3, very, very tight and compact, I think that was good stuff from Eugen Polanski. And if you replace Shuto Machino with Haris Tabakovic up front, a lot can happen. It should be noted that Rocco Reitz, who has been donning the captain's armband for the Foles, is now confirmed to be moving to Leipzig next season. I wonder if that will play a role. Probably not. He'll be still going for his hometown academy side all the way through. So I find this one to be quite interesting. Leipzig were a little bit less than convincing against Werder last week, but I think that Leipzig still are the superior side. I'm going to still give Gladbach credit for 2 goals, and we'll make this a 3-2 victory for the German Red Bulls.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting game. 2 on-form attacks at the minute, I would say. And as you say, Tabakovic is pretty much definitely going to come back into the side, I would imagine, after too much partying, I would imagine, last week after Bosnia's historic Champions League qualification over Italy. I think he's going to be back in, but I just feel as though Leipzig, even though they weren't at the best last week, it was still a statement win in a way, because Werder were on form, and a lot of people, you included, Peter, tipped that Werder would get something from the game. And it was, even though it wasn't exactly like a a brilliant performance. It was a comfortable win, really, in the end. They were 2-0 up until pretty much the last kick of the match. So I think it was still an important game. They've not been that good away from home at times this season, and I think they need to start winning those games. This is a game that there will be big favourites coming into. Gladbach are still not out of relegation trouble by any means. Like a bad weekend here, and they could be right back into it. They're only 5 points clear. But given the way they've been attacking in recent weeks, you would be relatively confident. You're pretty damn confident they're going to stay up, to be honest, and avoid the playoff as well. But I don't see them getting much in this game. I feel as though Leipzig are going to finish the season strongly. I can actually see them winning every game from now on till the end and really kind of finishing third, a comfortable third, and getting it back in the Champions League. And all will be forgotten about Werner's struggles, particularly in the winter, because I think he had a very poor winter, really, didn't he, Werner? For me, they're going to get a 3-1 win here. I think there's just too much quality in this Leipzig side. I could see Romulo as well, a player that I've always been a big fan of, getting at least one goal. He doesn't tend to bag doubles, to be honest, but he's definitely going to be on the score sheet in this one, in a 3-1 Leipzig win. So let's move on. Let's look at the next game, which is one of the biggest games of the weekend, really. It is. It's Wolfsburg versus Peter's favorite man in Bundesliga history, Albert Riera. Yeah, and I'm sure we're going to get a few more impressions of him as well when Peter's turn comes on this one. Obviously, Wolfsburg, historically low number of points that they've managed to accumulate from 28 games, only 21 points, disastrous return rate. They've got the joint worst defense alongside Heidenheim with a whopping 63 goals conceded. I mean, let's be honest, it's miles more than anyone else. Like the next one is actually Frankfurt, but they've conceded 10 goals more than what is apparently the worst defense in Europe, as Albert Riera famously described it as. But their defense really is seriously one of the worst in Europe right now, the VfL, at least in terms of the top 5 leagues anyway, I would imagine. Obviously, shipping 6 last week. There were shoots of encouragement last week with the 3 Danes who managed to bag. Obviously, Jonas Wind, who's not really done much at all this season, managed to get on the score sheet. We did see arguments as well between Sousa and Amura. We always say that Amura, as good of a player he is, he's not the kind of player that's going to carry you through a relegation dogfight, you don't feel, really. He's probably already got his eyes on a move, let's be honest, in the summer. And he's probably already got something kind of half agreed, I would imagine, behind the scenes. He's always been a player that's been linked well. So they need him fit and firing, really, if they're going to win this game. For me, there should be goals in this one. As I mentioned, it is the joint top versus the 3rd worst defense in the entire Bundesliga this season. So there should be goals in this one. We saw a very entertaining match last week involving Frankfurt, which really Köln could have had 3 or 4 goals on another day in that one. So this is winnable, but obviously it's not going to be easy against a strong SG attack. So I think there's going to be goals in this one, but I've gone for a reverse, as it's been much of the season for the VfL. I've gone for a high-scoring reverse in a 3-2 Frankfurt win. Peter.
Yeah, there should definitely be goals in this one, and it will give me no pleasure to watch Albert Riera gloat. If you want to see some more extended cuts of my Albert Riera impersonation, which, I'll give you some more. But at the end of the last pod, I think I might have been drinking whatever he'd been drinking in terms of highly caffeinated espresso or something. This is Wolfsburg. I've declared them done effectively, and I think that they are. The problem. Wind had a Wind is injured, which means that Amora is probably going to be the one who leads the attack. I think that Kento Shiogai just isn't ready for Bundesliga level just yet. Amora doesn't really do all that well as a center forward. I think he's better as a left lane player. So, I think that I'm going to give Wolfsburg credit for 1 goal here. The Frankfurt defense for all of Riera's ranting, I mean, I know the problem. No problem. You get solution. My players, they play with anxiety. It's the word is.
I
anxiety.
love my player.
My players love. I'm not angry with them. I massage them and I give them love. But I tell them what the problem is. They play too fast. They play with anxiety. Jesus Christ! Freaking learn how to pronounce the word anxiety, or learn some German. I mean, that word would be. I mean, if he came up with a couple of German words in a presser, maybe I would like him at this point. I mean, maybe he could give his opening statement or something in German, just have it prepared. But anyway, it looks to be good for Albert Riera. I'll go for a 3-1 Eintracht victory in this case. And but they will not qualify for Europe this season. I mean, that's not a hot take. They're 10 points below Leverkusen, whom I've also tipped to win. But I mean, there isn't, and this guy, this hot tamale, who is a little bit too hot for my tastes. I hope he spends the summer picking up a little bit of German, and at the very least give a Casper Huelman level presser. I would appreciate that.
Yeah, that is true. But yeah, obviously the Wolves. I mean, to be honest, is Hecking even going to see the rest of the season through? I mean, I had to think about this one. I mean, say they lose this one, they might even decide to twist again potentially for the last 5 games.
No, there's nobody else. I mean, it's
there's always you, Peter. Maybe you might decide to give it a last 5. If give you a cool $1 million, just say, okay, I'll sign a cool $1 million and a $5 million survival fee, and you'll do it.
Oh, I mean, they've sacked 2 head coaches, their sporting director and their managing director this season. Wolfsburg have. There is no possible way that. I mean, Dieter Hecking is just going to get relegated for the 2nd consecutive Bundesliga campaign after failing with Bochum last year.
It'll probably have them down at the bottom of the Zweiter as well by the time he gets sacked, like he did with Bochum.
Now we have Uwe Rösler, who is also on.
He's a legend, though. Uwe Rösler is a Wigan, Manchester City legend. Yeah.
Well, anyways, I mean, I can do a little Hecking for you. I mean, Hecking last week with the complaining about the refereeing, I mean, that was just der Martin Petersen es gab einen anderen Fall und dann also man kann einen Hereingaber geben, aber ich würde das nicht geben. What a jerk. And I mean, so
you should make another YouTube channel doing impressions like that guy. What's his name? Darren Farley, the one that does English impressions of Daniel Farke. He does a really good Daniel Farke as well.
I wonder what he sounds like in English. It's
very funny. You should Google that. Actually, he's got a very effeminate kind of voice. Actually, I would say it's very interesting. Yeah, but you should check him out. Yeah.
What happens with German? I mean, you'll have like a German who speaks very gutturally and be like, "Ja, hallo, mein Name is Max Giesenholler," and then all of a sudden they switch to English. It's like, "And I'm very pleased to meet you."
That's Daniel Farke.
Yeah,
that's Daniel Farke.
Deep booming German voice, and then all of a sudden, helium. Now maybe they want to impersonate David Beckham or something.
Yeah. But if you listen, he kind of sounds like a German David Beckham, actually, Daniel Farke. If you listen to him, yeah. Anyway, let's move on back to the Bundesliga. So yeah, we got a. I mean, I feel like I say this every week, but I mean, it's probably the last chance saloon has already passed for the Fußball Club Heidenheim, unfortunately. I mean, they could probably win every game at this point. It might not be enough, I mean, literally what? If they win every game now, they'd have another 18 points, which still wouldn't get them to 35. So even if they win every game now, they'd still end up on 34 points, which might not be enough even for the playoff, but we'll have to see. But this does present a rare opportunity to do a double in the Bundesliga for the FCH. They did win at the Stadion an der Alte Försterei when was it? Was it in December time? And they got those 2 goals in added time after creating very little in the match. And that was kind of the birth of Mr. Schimmer, wasn't it? I think that was the first of what turned out to be a few last-minute goals that he got around that time. But he got the winner in that game, so that was something. Union, I mean, what can you say? Their season is kind of petering out to be a little bit of a nothing season, really, in a way. It started off with a lot of promise. Obviously we saw that attacking triangle, which showed promise initially, but hasn't done much for a long time now, unfortunately. I mean, they're still solid defensively. The likes of Dookie, Late, and Querfeld are always kind of provide that back three. They've got enough quality. The wing backs are starting to get a bit stale. I mean, obviously, Christopher Trimmel still getting game time, even though he's like 40, I think now, is he? He still plays too many games, really, I would say. He lost his pace completely. So, yeah, it's hard to know really where to evaluate Stefan Baumgart's men, because on one side they look like they've stayed up. They just need one win. If they win this game, they will be onto the 35 points as well. They are going to stay up this season, which a lot of people didn't expect them to. But going forward, you would worry about them next season as things stand, because they got a lot of their points early doors when they kind of flew out of the blocks, beating the likes of Stuttgart, Frankfurt. But it's been a while since we really saw like a kind of marquee performance from them for me. So all said and done, I'm not quite going to go for the FCH to get over the line and win this one, because unfortunately they concede too many late goals, and defensively they're not good enough either. So I've gone for a 1-1 draw in this one. I think they'll cancel each other out a little bit. Peter?
First and foremost, I owe everybody who tuned into the Monday pod a sincere apology, because I neglected to mention, and this was something that I wrote about over the weekend. It just simply happens. You write, 16, 20 articles and you forget some of the things that you wrote yourself. Oliver Burke, everyone's favorite Scotsman, became the first man to crack the top 10 of the all-time Bundesliga pace record. As a matter of fact, he got place number 2. He's only behind Mateo Bahoya of Eintracht, 37 kilometers per hour flat. So our boy Burke is quite the speedster. And last season was a lot more interesting for speedsters. I think this is going to be a great match. As a matter of fact, I have shades of that match between Union and Stuttgart that ended 4-4 after 8 halftime, or 8 goals that were in the first 45 minutes earlier. It was around about this time last year. But anyway, so we have Oliver Burke, whom I've not come up with an impression of yet. I'm not really, I need to do better with my Scottish impressions. I mean, pretty much all I can do now, after becoming a massive Hearts fan, is do no swallow, no party. But obviously, everybody gets to hear me talk about the Conte brothers as well, who are also speed demons and playing in this match. Not, at the. You can repeat yourself on the pod. We have Sir Lord Calvin Conte, and we have Mr. Joe.
And you're in Alabama for the day as well, aren't you, Peter? So yeah, you finally you can bring Christy Joe over to his true homeland.
Yes. So Lord,
let's not forget too, Peter. I just wanted to add, Dennis Geiger is also in Scotland now. Do you know that, with Aberdeen? That is a hell of a move.
I wrote the story on his transfer. I mean, it was ridiculous, this January transfer window, the number of people going to Scotland. And now I'm a huge Scottish Premiership fan. Watch Ryan Adair, for crying out loud. Yeah, so I am going to go for a 3-3 draw between Heidenheim and Union, with Oliver Burke as Sir Lord Conte, Sir Lord Calvin Conte, and Christian Joe Conte angling for the speed record. I do believe both of them are fit, not necessarily. Yeah, I mean, it could be the case that both of them could feature in the starting 11 in this one. And Burke, you wouldn't think of him as a speedster. Little bit of a stout man, maybe. But sometimes when you have a low center of gravity, it works. But yeah, so this is going to be one of the most exciting matches that nobody is ever watching except me. Yeah.
I'm not sure the defend. There's going to be an awful lot of good defending from Heidenheim on display. I mean, I've enjoyed their recent games because they've just been like going all out, haven't they? Basically, like they're just like, sod it. We want to go down with a fight. We want to enjoy it, and they've been scoring quite a few goals in recent times. So you could be right, Peter. But yeah, we're both going for a third successive draw for the FC. So yeah, let's move on to the top spiel, and it is an important top spiel, particularly for the hosts in this one, FC St. Pauli at the Milan Tour against Germany's best hope of a Champions League win, FC Bayern, who obviously we've got to give them credit for that performance in the Bernabeu, which was a superb 2-1 win. They could have had more goals as well if Upamecano actually could shoot to save his life. But overall, it was a very, very good performance, and it just kind of like solidifies how good this Bayern team is. Their first win in the Bernabeu, I believe, since 2001 as well. So that was an impressive win, a place that they've always struggled to go to and win. And it was a great result for the Bundesliga and for Bayern as well. And we have to hope they complete the job next Wednesday, but obviously that will be the priority. I mean, this game is an absolute case of after the Lord Mayor's show, isn't it? I mean, I can't see them giving really much of a damn about this. But obviously, the problem for Pauli is that Bayern have not only got a great starting 11, but they've also got a lot of players outside the starting 11 that are on form as well. And we're probably going to see the likes of Tom Bischoff start this game, who's just been superb in recent weeks too, and is still fighting for a German national team place as well for the World Cup, isn't he? So the likes of Goretzka will start as well. I mean, it's not exactly a weak side, and basically what's going on with this Bayern team at the minute, they just look too good for everyone, really, for Europe and the Bundesliga. I would imagine there will be rotations. I think one of Diaz and Elise will be rested for this game, potentially Diaz, because Elise was rested last week against Freiburg. Kane, I would imagine, will definitely be rested after the injury that he sustained a couple of weeks ago, and they'll want him fit after yet another stellar performance in the Bernabeu. But having said that, I was at one point tempted to go for a shock here and go for a point for Pauli, but I just think what Bayern are doing at the minute, and with the World Cup on the horizon, a lot of these young players want to get on the plane. They'll see this as a great chance to go and put yet another marker down here. And I just feel as though Bayern will still get the win. I don't think it'll be as heavy a score as it probably would have been if it wasn't in the middle of these fixtures, but I still think a 3-1 away win here. Peter?
I mean, those were my thoughts exactly. I think this is going to be a very, very hard-fought match from Pauli. I think that at home in the Milan Tour, after some poor luck in their last two fixtures, they're going to really fight hard here, and they're good for a goal as well. Like you, I considered tipping a draw, but I eventually came around to doing a 3-1 victory for Bayern. And you know my feelings on Tom Bischoff and Leonard Karl, the Aschaffenburg twins. So I'll be wishing them a great deal of luck, even though I don't root for Bayern in the league. Bischoff and Karl, I believe, will absolutely take it in this instance. Yeah, there's just too much to play for still for this Bayern roster at the minute. And obviously they're still going for the goals record as well. What is it? Was it 108 or 109, the current standing goal record? So I think if they get to 110, I mean, they've got 6 games to get 10 goals, which, let's be honest, they will do it. They're probably going to smash it. I would imagine they'll probably get 120, to be honest with you. But let's see anyway. So, let's move on to Sunday. We've got a great triple header. I always love these triple headers when it starts getting to this stage of the season. So go on, Peter. I'll let you lead out on Köln-Bremen, which is a very important game just above the relegation zone at the minute. Yes, and I'm pleased to congratulate René Wagner preemptively on his first Bundesliga victory. I think that was excellent what he did, actually, in getting them into a 4-4-2, keeping things simple and basic, and then having the Midas touch when it came to his substitutions, Bülter, Waldschmidt, and Alessio Castro-Montes, whom you might have forgotten even is playing in the Bundesliga. You know what? I mean, I had a lot of good things to say about Bremen, and I still do. I think that what Thioune has managed to do here, squeezing some blood out of a stone, so to speak, when it comes to the attack, is quite commendable. And I don't think that Bremen are going to slide back in the relegation race. But I believe that Köln will take them 1-0 here in what's a very, very tight contest. You know, with Bremen, we have some issues. Steg, we're now calling him Jens Steg, as in accordance with the Danish pronunciation. is almost out with muscular problems. And we have this Mitchell Weiser distraction that came up last week, something I wrote on and mentioned on the Monday pod. I think, I was talking about how Wolfsburg and Bremen probably going to lose their sporting management before the season is over with. You made a short out of it for some reason. But in any case, you know what? I wasn't thinking that anymore, but I think that either Fritz or Niemeyer is probably going to go after this season, because there's just been too, when it comes to squad management, there's just been too many mistakes. And Weiser, one of hugely popular player in German football, has been absolutely correct to point this out. I'm very much on his side in this one. So I'm not thinking a lot of offensive fireworks from either team here, unless Ragnar Ache has another Fallrückzieher Luftkönig special in store for us. But I will go Köln 1-0.
Yeah, I'm tempted to side with you based on what I saw last week. Köln, I thought it was one of the best performances of the season, particularly from an attacking perspective. And on another day, they could well have won that game. I think they were very good. All the stats and the numbers were good. The XG was around about 3.5 in that game for Köln, which is very, very good numbers. And Wagner gives you a lot of hope. He's a very kind of energetic guy, but he's still got this kind of German calm about him as well. He's not a lunatic, but he's got this kind of, he gives you confidence, really. I don't know what it is about him, but there's something that gives you confidence.
This is a man who traded in, his playing career took him to Hawaii and Miami, and he decided to come back to the Bundesrepublik and follow Stefan Baumgart around for 4 years. Or however many years it was. I guess you just can't get good bratwurst in Hawaii or Miami.
Or maybe not good enough Kölsch as well. But definitely I could see, I've got really big hopes for him, and this is the most confident I've been the whole season that Köln are going to stay up, to be honest with you, probably after those first 4 or 5 games. And I agree with you, Peter. They are going to get that marquee win here, which would be a huge 3 points to push them above Bremen and kind of, still not safe by any means. It would push them up to 30 points. But, should Pauli lose, then it would be a 5-point gap all of a sudden, So that's starting to look a lot healthier for Köln. And, I just feel as though they're a better team than Bremen, really. Bremen, it's just been a kind of funny season. I think they just need to get through the season. And I think Thioune I also like, to be honest. I think Thioune is also a good coach, but he's just not really working with very much at the minute at Bremen. Obviously, they seriously messed up the summer transfer window, as we know, and they've ended up with like a pretty not the best squad, really, for a club like Werder Bremen, as far as I'm concerned. So I feel as though Acker will definitely get a goal in this one. To be honest, I could see El Mala getting on the sheet as well. So I've gone for a 2-0 Köln home win for the first of the Wagner era, the first victory of the Wagner era, which in my eyes will be a long and successful one for the FC. So let's move on to another interesting game. We've got some fantastic fixtures on Sunday, especially for fans of traditional German football clubs and great atmospheres and things like that. And the next one we got is Stuttgart-Hamburg, which is also a really, really interesting fixture. Hamburg, I've been saying for a while now, for me, the performances have been better than the results. Last week's was a funny game against Augsburg. I think I mentioned on Monday, I said that, or Tuesday when we ended up eventually releasing the show, I think I said that that's the kind of game that both teams will not know how they didn't win that match. Both teams had a lot of chances in the match, and Hamburg played well with 10 men too. Even with 10 men, they could have come back and won that game in the last 10 minutes or so. So, yeah, there's still a lot of good to be said about Hamburg. They probably don't score quite. They're not that clinical. That could be one issue. I mean, I'd like to see Glatzel get, a run in the team without injury. I think Königsdörfer is finally starting to look like a Bundesliga standard striker for the first, basically. I mean, that's a lot coming from me because I didn't even rate him that much in the Zweite Liga, to be honest with you. Yeah, and then obviously they've got a lot of quality too, the likes of Vieira, Vuskovic. There's a lot of good to be said. I did read as well that they have desires to keep Vieira too. I'm not quite sure how they're going to manage that. I don't think they'll financially be able to. Maybe they'll be able to get him on another loan potentially, but it's unlikely because I would imagine other clubs, other Premier League clubs might come into him after such a good season for the HSV this year. Vuskovic is basically no chance of keeping him. He's even been linked with Barcelona as far as I know. So he's got a huge future ahead of him. As for Stuttgart, I mean, obviously last week was a pretty disappointing result, really, and performance, I would say. It was a pretty nothing game, like we said on Tuesday, a disappointment of a spectacle. And Stuttgart, you know, maybe it seems as though every time after the international break, they struggle because for some reason, Stuttgart players never seem to do that well for Germany. I don't know what it is, but they never seem to transform their great performances into the national team. And it seemed to have knocked them a little bit. So this isn't an easy fixture for the VfB, but I still feel as though they will be able to get a couple of goals in this one. So I've gone for a 2-1, but it's not a confident 2-1, to be honest. What do you think, Peter?
I'll go with the exact same scoreline. I mean, we discussed in great detail both during last week's prediction pod and the review show as well, why I tipped Dortmund over Stuttgart and why I felt it turned out to be right. And that had to do with the fact that the Stuttgart players had an awful international break for the national team. And, you know, this strife, I guess you would translate that as, between Nagelsmann and Undav is still making everybody, all the German footballing circles queasy. But of course, I have some good news for Stuttgart fans. They should be back on the level in time for this one. It should also be a hard-fought game. Glatzel got an assist. He assisted on the HSV goal last week after sitting out suspension. I think that, I mean, HSV are a good team. And it should be a good match, but I would tip Stuttgart to be back on the level here after a distracting international break. When I used to write the Tactics Talk column for Bully News, I used to love to do the Spiegel specials, you know, where I would say, okay, here's what it was. Here was the score line in the Hinrunde. Here's what it was in the Rückrunde. Yeah. And in this case, we have a perfect mirror. I think HSV actually beat Stuttgart.
They did.
In the Hinrunde, and it was Glatzel who scored. Glatzel scores again, but it'll be 2-1 Stuttgart in this case.
Yeah, and then an interesting game to finish off. Well, I can bring you good news as well, guys. I don't know if you've seen the scores, Peter, but both of our final matches teams are 2-0 up at current. Freiburg 2-0 up against Vigo, and from what I can see with the stats, completely dominating the game as well. And also Mainz, who we weren't that convinced would get through, are also 2-0 up, which is fantastic news. I mean, say those scores stick. I mean, we could potentially have 3 Bundesliga teams in the semi-finals of Europe and in 3 different competitions as well, which is fantastic. Don't want to get too excited yet, but I mean, the performances that, you know, Freiburg and Mainz have put in Europe have just been stellar at times this season. And the Europa Park Stadion has become a European fortress. It really has. Maybe the Europa Park Stadion and Europa League is like the perfect combination by the look of it. But again, we said about the After the Lord Mayor's show, this is definitely going to be a case of that in this one. Obviously, with both teams looking like they're going to be in very good positions to go through to the last 4 ahead of their away trips to Vigo and Strasbourg, respectively. Obviously, Mainz still have a little bit of work to do to stay up in the Bundesliga. Not very much, truth be told. A win here would definitely have everything signed, sealed, and delivered in terms of Bundesliga safety. But I just feel as though we'll see rotations here. I think at the end of the day, both teams have got to go for Europe now. You know, they're both mid-table in the Bundesliga, not really much to really get going in the league. So I think we'll see rotations across the board here in this one for me. So it's very hard to know what to tip, to be honest, in this one. I've gone for a 1-1 draw just because I can see it being a bit of an anticlimactic game, this one. With both teams looking ahead to bigger and better things. So what do you think, Peter?
Yes, we'll sync up exactly. I am keeping an eye on these matches. Last round, I had the privilege of covering both Freiburg and Mainz and watching both clubs make history, including Vincenzo Grifo, Viva la Pforzheim. Cam appreciated that. Cam also just texted me during the show, let me know that Johan Manzambi is being linked with a move to La Liga. It doesn't surprise me in the slightest. But we're proud of both of these teams. Even myself as a Kaiserslautern supporter, I'm proud of Mainz for making Conference League history. Again, Germans don't, we don't have cognitive dissonance when it comes to Europe. I mean, we'll root for teams that we don't like in Europe because they represent our country. Both teams are dominant, as I've been, keeping an eye on just, the basics of sometimes while I've been doing this pod. This is either going to be a 1-1 draw or a 2-2 or a 3-3 or something like that. Depends on, Freiburg obviously rotated in a stronger cast, but Mainz have been doing very well with minimal squad rotations between the European weeks and the Bundesliga weekend. It's so great that both are up 2-0. The storylines abound. Grifo scored again for Freiburg. Nicholas Besta finally did something. We've been on that for quite a while. The Mainz goals are from our rising Irish star Paul Nabel, and Paul Nabel assisted Stefan Posch again, and a little Japanese combination from Kaishu Sano and Kawasaki. So I think I had 2-2 initially, but I'll go 1-1. It just depends on which axes are more tired. If the defenders are switching off, or if the attack is out of ideas and steam. It depends, but it should be a draw between two evenly matched sides.
Both of these teams in general are finishing the season like a train, aren't they, really? Like, both of them are absolutely flying at the minute. But I think it would have been a good game if it wasn't for the fact that it's in the middle of these European ties. I think it's almost a pity, really, it's not after the ties, because then the teams could have let their hair down a bit more. But obviously, I think both sides will be worried about injuries in this one. They don't want to pick up potential. So I would imagine rotations. Mainz have got a much smaller squad, as you say. They've not got that much room to rotate at the minute. So there will be some players that are out there tonight on the pitch, but it should be a good game. Mainz 1, Freiburg 1. So that just about concludes us for this evening, and just in time to watch the second halves as well of these games, which is so exciting from a Bundesliga perspective. Imagine having Bayern, Freiburg and Mainz in the semi-finals of European competition. It would be great.
One more thing about Freiburg really quickly. We mentioned Strichpunkt on the show last week, and so we should definitely, we opened with a little music. Let's close with a little music.
That's another one for our next ground hopping trip, I think, definitely. Yeah. But anyway, guys, that just about concludes us for the 9 fixtures of this weekend. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all of that good stuff ahead of the weekend. And also don't forget to find us on social media, X, Instagram, and Threads, and Blue Sky as well. I will be getting off to my latest FC Nuremberg game this weekend as well. So check out any local posts. Don't be too jealous, Peter, as well. Yeah. But anyway, guys, have a fantastic weekend. Long live the Bundesliga. Let's hope we can fire our teams onto even more goals against the respective opponents. And hopefully we'll see all 3 qualify into the semi-finals, which would just be amazing for the Bundesliga. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot, and see you Monday, the other side. Bye-bye, guys.